Okay, I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and sincerity. Um, I want to do a lesson. I know the elders and a couple of the brothers in the camp have been pushing, you know, the UFOs, and it says in Scripture we must prove all things. Um, one of the brothers in my camp brought out this book called Wonders in the Sky. Uh, I came across the book. I passed it to the Akim before I was even in the camp, and it's just funny how everything is used in its time in the season. Like I said, the book actually is a good book. Like I said, at the time, you know what I'm saying, I passed it along, and then to show you how the Most High actually, you know, is behind and controls all things, I end up getting the book again on PDF. So if brothers actually want the book, you can actually go on a site called archive.org. It's like an internet database of all kind of free material, free books and whatnot, and, maybe movies. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for, but it's a large database of all kind of material that you can download for free. With that being said, right when I was coming into the truth, I came across a book, um, and it's in regards to the chariots of Israel with the white man Esau, so-called white man, calls UFOs, but we as the children of Israel know it to be the chariots of the Most High. The name of the book is called The Greatest Deception, the Bible UFO Connection, and it's by a man named Patrick Cook. Now, I've skimmed through it, but I've never read this book, so I figured that we can, explore this together. I know I read one page, and it was so spiritual. I read a page, and it was talking about how the cloud, basically, from this author's, um, I'm trying to use the correct word, but basically the author figured the cloud that followed us, the Israelites, our forefathers, and maybe some of us back then followed us, you know, through the desert. That was a UFO. So when I read that part, I said, "Wow," you know what I mean. I don't know if I told any of the brothers about the book, but I believe I did. But like I said, I never really got a chance to um, really read it like that because walking this walk is not an easy walk. It seemed like that might have been Satan every time something came up. I mean, every time I tried to go to read the book, something would come up. But like I said, because right now the push, the fathers and elders are pushing, defending the gospel and speaking on the chariots. Like I said, I figured this was the perfect time to bring out the this book. So I'm gonna just jump right into it. So the book it's titled "The Greatest Deception: The Bible UFO Connection" by Patrick Cook, and Cook is spelled Cooke. And we start at the introduction. It says, throughout recorded history, mankind has dealt with the phenomenon known as unidentified flying objects, from cave artists to astronauts, from peasants to presidents. In every culture and on every continent, encounters with Slovakia, with UFOs are the most common and well documented phenomenon of all. Science snubs it, the government debunks it, and the church ignores or condemns it. There's a common thread running through each of these attitudes, and that is competition. Science can't admit to anything that may be more powerful than it can. Slovakia debunks it. There's a common thread running through each of these attitudes, that is competition. Science can't admit to anything that may be more powerful than it perceives itself to be. Government can't allow anything it can't control, and the church can't accept anything that might compete with its dogmatic view of the Most High. It is this last sector that defies any sense of purpose or logic. The very book the entire Christian religion is based on the Bible is contrary to closed-minded ignorance, a virtual UFO digest. See what they just, this is what this man just said? Because it's multiple scriptures, that talk about the UFOs. Well, Slakia with the chariots of Israel. I mean, I just had it on Ezekiel. Ezekiel talks about it. The book of Zechariah speaks on it. There's multiple books that actually talk about the chariots. So um, David spoke on it, and Psalms 18 is like I said. So you know that's linking up, and that's on point. The power of the Old and New Testament is very clearly described as regularly appearing in flying, glowing, and spinning objects. There's an entire fleet of flying objects armed with high-tech weapons and devices and close encounters of every kind found in the Bible. Despite this reality, if the subject of the UFOs is ever discussed in religion, it is labeled as evil. It is called the Great Deception of Satan. Those more radical in the recognized church hierarchy have gone as far as to condemn the millions of those who don't accept that Satan is an alien dogma to a horrible and painful death. This work has been undertaken in the defense of those countless millions who, throughout thousands of years of human history, have witnessed or simply believe that UFOs are real and not simply satanic holography. Among those who would qualify for this modern inquisition are an impressive company of biblical authors, including Moses, Samuel, Job, Ezra, Elijah, Elisha, Joshua, Jonah, Jeremiah, Solomon, Nehemiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Joel, Amos, Habakkuk, Nahum, Zephaniah, and Zechariah. Also included are Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, James, and Paul. And perhaps the most prominent of these supposed satanic believers is Yahweh himself. He actually claims to be in charge of what the church inquisitors claims are satanic vehicles that contain demon aliens set to deceive mankind. The Bible UFO connection gathers together the hundreds of biblical references pertaining to the technological advanced nature of the super race known as Elohim. It's saying Elohim, but brothers in the know, we know they're called the Elohim. So categorized are the vehicles they fly, the flight characteristics of those vehicles, the beings associated with them, and the technology those beings possess. This is present this is presented as an attempt to lift the veil of ignorance and mystery held tightly over the most published work in the world, which is the Bible. It is intended to counter the unjust condemnation of seekers of the truth by those who claim it to be Salakia. The condemnation of seekers of the truth by those who claim to be keepers of the truth. Perhaps that great deception just might be the most obvious cover up in history. Continuing. Also included are connections outside the Bible that show a clear present, past, and present from other ancient writings, the historical record, the remnants of many cultures, and the sightings in our modern world. It is no longer a matter of if it's like it, a matter of if these sightings and this evidence represent a technological power on this planet greater than our own. It is time we move on past denial and forward into facing the awesome reality. We are not alone now, and we have never been. Fear, prejudice, and denial and deceit cannot change that, only mask it. The Bible UFO connection is the result of research undertaken to find links in three seemingly unconnected fields: theology, archaeology, and UFOlogy. In general terms, flying gods, ancient advanced technology, and the unexplained objects flying in our skies. It is in the intent of this work to present truth hidden from the public either by ignorance or intention. It is up to the reader to judge if these long hidden connections and truths are random oversights or whether they may indeed be the key to the world's greatest deception. This work will make the connections by demonstrating the following. The church is hiding it. The beings of the Bible called God, which that goes off, because like I said, when you go into Scripture, it tells you, that you know, it's one power, and then the Elohim, you know, you got the powers, you know, along with Yahweh Shah, they help create everything. You know what I mean? But you know, it's one power. So one. That's why he's called the Most High. One of his titles is the Most High. Possess and use of advanced technology that allows them to fly in vehicles described by the biblical witnesses as strikingly similar to UFOs. This technology extends far beyond flight. The church has chosen to ignore the biblical evidence that supports this, in spite of hundreds of biblical verses proving it. So, like it, biblical verses proving it. This practice of biblical commands and core concepts. Salaki. I missed the sentence. This practice of ignoring biblical texts extends beyond the technical aspects of God into areas of specific biblical commands and core concepts. Not only the obvious exclusion of this reality, but also the characterization of demonic association by the more zealous gives rise to the evidence of a conspiracy of ignorance, either in place or in the making. For those in the religious community who automatically condemn this work as evil for even questioning the integrity of the church, it stands on a very clear mandate in the Bible. Romans 12 and 2, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 21. Prove all things, and that's the spirit. Hold fast that which is good. These verses clearly authorize and direct all believers to prove all things. To blindly condemn the information here without proving it wrong is a violation of that directive. The experts are hiding it. The archaeological field is in possession of direct evidence of advanced technologies and beings and the remnants of ancient cultures. And I'm gonna just expound on that a little bit. And you know, like I said, I mean, like one of the brothers in the what's that, the Ancient of Days camp. You know, he did a video and he was showing, you know, like cave drawings where they're showing men and you know, and he was saying how that's the angels and the chariots, and you know, like that's like archaeological evidence, you know what I'm saying? But why isn't that like promoted? That's just like when they said how the Smithsonian would come and take all the, you know, like certain like skeletons, you know, you got like the demon that I know, my demon, but she ain't really my demon, I guess. But she hit me onto something, you know what I'm saying? Back when I first was coming into the truth, and when I first met her, you know, she was talking about it's a place in Ohio called the Serpent Mounds, and I think it's near like Adamsville, Ohio, and that's a real hot spot. You know, I ain't trying to go off a topic, but the point is, you know, like when you go check that and look that up, you know, like if you check on Adamsville, like basically, you know, like in Adamsville, they found like one of the oldest. I ain't gonna say it's a scroll. It's like a little tablet with Hebrew writing on it, and you know, it's like one of the oldest finds supposedly in history. But then the Serpent's Mounds is near that area, and you know, they supposed to found all these huge skeletons. You know, people. I think the least longest was like 7.5 feet, but then they was finding people that was like 11 feet tall. You know what I mean? It was like 70 skeletons. You know what I mean? Or how they were saying how the Smithsonian would come in and people would be like finding these huge skeletons in the Smithsonian and come and grab them, and then they'll never be seen again. So it's a reason why Esau does this. You know what I mean? Like I was just listening to that same brother in the Ancient of Days camp, because you know you could tell when the spirit's heavy with that brother. He's working with him, or you know the spirit's dealing with that brother, and he's doing a lot of good videos right now. And he was just saying how, you know, well, not no. Matter of fact, Salakia, it wasn't that brother. It was the brother from the Holland camp. He was saying how the Salakia on that. Um, not to take away anything I just said, but it was the brother in the Holland camp. It's certain brothers I listen to that, you know, really, I ain't gonna say entertaining, they're very informative. And he was saying how like Esau's whole job is to get us to go off. You know what I mean? I just heard Apostle Tahar say it, and you know, so we can be accused. You know what I mean? Especially if you don't know that you know, like some people don't even know that they Israelites, so they don't realize that they're breaking laws because you know, like I said, like how the Apostle Tahar broke it down. He said that at the end of the day, when you go into the word deceiver or diablos or devil, you know what I mean, it's an accuser. It's a, you know, a false accuser. So you know, trying to get us to go off. I mean, when you take the time to think about the society, I was just laughing at some things I just saw today. You know, just observations in this fucked up ass place. And you know, what I mean, when you take the time to really think about stuff, you know what I mean. Like I'm in a situation where I can't go to a place. I can't have contact with a certain person. But then if I don't go to this so-called, you know, it's like a court date. If I don't go, I'm gonna get in trouble. But if I go and that person has an issue, I can get in trouble. Now, what kind of double catch 22 whammy type shit is this? I mean, like it's kind of funny. But anyhow, my point to go into all that because I don't want to, you know, go off a topic too much is at the end of the day, I can believe, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, if the so-called white man has basically set it up with his own dogma and his own philosophy, he can't have the truth out there. You know what I mean? That's why you know it's something my brother said a long time ago. History is his story. You get what I'm saying? So when you control all the information and whatnot, you can tell the people whatever. You know what I mean? That's why if you really are like trying to sup with the Lord, or if the Lord's supping with you, you can recognize what time we're in. You know what I mean? Like what? Maybe I'd say 15, 20 years ago, you got people. I mean, so much information is at your fingertips, and it goes back to the book of Daniel, how knowledge will shall increase. I believe that's Daniel 12. I don't know exactly what verse, but I think it's in the last chapter of Daniel. But going back to the book, uh, I'm gonna start that over. The archaeological field in the possession of direct evidence of advanced technology and beings in the remnants of ancient cultures. They don't declare it as evil, just unknown. The fact that these objects could not possibly have been made by the culture they represent goes unmentioned. This reality is mirrored in many of the world's ancient writings. The field of anthropology is silent on the written evidence failing its myth and legend. Our history is incomplete without a clear understanding that our ancestors were in direct contact. Well, it's not our ancestors. I mean, it's for the Israelites, you know, our ancestors, because I don't know who this guy Patrick Cook is, you know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, I came across this book. Like I said, I don't even recall how I came across the book, but like I said, it happened to be free. And I ended up getting the book, and I remember reading that one page, but that's where he's going off, because, you know what I'm saying? Scripture says that, you know, and multiple scriptures that the Most High has people above all people, roughly paraphrasing. So he's not supping or dealing with everybody. Yeah, he, you know, everybody does his will, but you know what I mean. He's not supping with everybody. Everybody's not the Most High's people. Um, Back to what I was reading. Our history is incomplete without a clear understanding that our the Israelites' ancestors were in direct contact with a race of advanced beings. Our remnants of the past are mislabeled and improperly associated to satisfy certain antiquated theories of our past. And there is no other branch in the recognized Orthodox scientific community that even admits there is anything strange going on in our skies. Does this not also have the feeling of a conspiracy of ignorance? We cannot prove that they are withholding information intentionally, but that does not change the fact that they are withholding it.